Hey guys, so I'm in a wig today. Sometimes I wear them just for fun, but today I was actually supposed to be in drama class performing, but I got ditched by my transportation. I decided the next best thing for me to do would to be shoot a video as I promised I would do this week. I'm sorry, you guys, I've had a lot going on in my life between school and family stuff and being aggravated at my wheelchair and transportation, but I'm here. As you may or may not know, depending on whether you know me in life or not, or you have been following me, I was born in the early 1980s with what ended up being a mild case of cerebral palsy. And most of the time, it keeps me in a wheelchair, especially, if I have to go for long distances or if I'm really tired. And for a long time, when I was a little girl, I was out of my wheelchair more than I was in it. Some things happened to me in my life surrounding my sexual abuse situation growing up, and then my cousin Mandy was killed during the aftermath of that by accident. I now know. And when she died, I started falling down in my walker. And pretty soon I was in the wheelchair full time, mostly because I didn't have a family to, or who wanted to support me in standing up and walking. And so my muscles atrophied, and I just quit walking for a long time. And then when I grew up, I met the new kids on the block. Okay. And if you know me at all, even a little bit, they're behind me here. You, with all this other 80s stuff. See it? And then Judy Garland and one of my first counseling certificates right back there. Um, but the new kids are a big part of me. So some things happen in my life that I may or may not talk about because there's a line, it's very personal. But I met them, and they were basically what we all prayed for growing up when we were going through our sexual abuse. And they got me up walking and back on my feet, at least some. And I hadn't walked for like 18 years. So, you know, I can do it a little bit now. And the reason I bring this up in relation to my education is because I have been to see the New Kids on the Block 9 times. 9 times. And I love them to death, love them to pieces, and they know it. And they've always encouraged me to do my best. And so a few years ago, I went back to school to become a trauma therapist after everything that happened to me. But my beginning was a little bit bumpier than that. Like I said, I was born with what ended up being a mild case of cerebral palsy in the early 80s. My mom's appendix basically ruptured when she was 6.5 months pregnant, with me still in her womb. And I was delivered at 7 months, but I'd been laying in the poison for all that time. And apparently, I nearly died at birth like 4 times. And so I feel in my life that that has sparked a connection to the other side of life, after we cross over here from the after, I'm talking about the afterlife there. And I may or may not get into that, considering that I'm studying to be a therapist. I don't know if a belief in the supernatural is a super great thing to discuss. But the beginning of my education pretty much came, I want to say, around 9 months of age, because they diagnosed me with cerebral palsy when I was 6 months old. And when I was born, they told my mom I would be a mentally challenged vegetable. Okay, you can see how that worked out. But, it was 1981, so I don't know what to say about that. They were just wrong. So when you are a disabled child in the state of California, you are given early intervention with the disability stuff at home at 9 months of age. And I had a therapist from a place called the Walton Development Center, and it's still around. It's in Stockton, California, in the San Joaquin Valley, where I am from and where I live. Uh, they taught me, along with my sister and mother, to talk and hold a cup and potty train myself and all of those lovely things. And then I was put into preschool at 18 months of age. So that by the time I was 3, I was reading at a first grade level. And then I went over to a lovely school in Stockton Unified called Hoover Elementary, where I was part of the OH program. And that's an old term for orthopedically handicapped. And we don't use the word handicapped anymore. But basically, what that means is kids that are OH, or used to be called OH, or orthopedically handicapped, it is what it says, in that they have physical and muscular and skeletal issues and disabilities. And so that's where I was coming from in the beginning. And that is the beginning of my education. And it was very, very hands-on. And in the 1980s, I went to school with kids that were all kinds of different ethnicities, and we celebrated one another's holidays in school and learned each other's languages and cooked each other's food. And we brought music in every Wednesday, and we learned to type on computers so that it would be easier for some of us to communicate. And because some of my friends cannot speak at all or very well. So I learned to use computers early. I learned to read very early, and I got very acclimated to my disability extremely early. And today I'm extraordinarily frustrated because I was supposed to give a performance in my drama class, and I got bailed out on by first RTD Dial-A-Ride and then SJRTD Van Gogh. So thanks for that, San Joaquin Regional Transit District. Oh, and I just want to give a shout out to my drama teacher, Greg. Greg, if I decide to send this to you, I hope you enjoy it. And just so you know, I really am stuck in my living room with all of my 1980s memorabilia. I really am. And I am extremely pissed off about the whole thing. But you know what they say, You gotta have faith. Um, Everything in the end usually works out how it's supposed to. And before I sign off here, I just want to give a shout out to the new kids on the block. And I will probably do this every single freaking video. It's gonna become my gimmick. So I love you boys. Joe, see my silly wig? The one I came to see you in June was much better than this, but anyhow, I love you guys. And also to the handful of viewers that I'm getting, remember, I am good enough, and so are you. I love you all.